How's it going, gamers? Chongo here, and today I got a gameplay commentary for you guys. The gameplay is of a game called Kerbal Space Program. It's an indie game, and it's currently $23 or $22 on Steam, so if you do like the gameplay that you're seeing, I definitely recommend you go and check that out, and maybe download the demo I think there is of it, or buy the actual game if you like it. Now, the reason I've chosen this game for my commentary is because my commentary is actually relating to indie games, and why I think next gen they may be a little bit more prevalent than what they have been this gen, and even then, why they will take over some of the bigger gaming companies. Now, the reason I think this is because most of the big companies, when they go to make a game, they need to get enough profits to pay for their staff members that they've got, and some of these companies have like hundreds if not thousands of people working there, so they need to make a massive profit to be able to pay these people's wages. However, in a game like this, for example, when it only has a small development team, you don't actually have to pay, hundreds of people. You only really need to make a small profit, and then the whole game is profitable and you can keep working on it. Like, for example, a couple of weeks ago I heard about the Deadpool game that was being made, and I think they've finished it, so it's nearly going to gold, so they've basically finished making the game. Anyway, Activision has then fired 40 staff members once the game was finished, so it's pretty much like saying, okay, thanks for your work on the game, now you don't have a job anymore. So it seems kind of sad that this has to be done, but it's getting to the point that if a game flops, there won't be any money to pay for the staff, so it seems kind of sad, but it's drawing the fact that there's so much competition at the moment. I mean, there's so many different gaming companies out there. Even if they're kind of small like an indie one, you may not think they'll be able to compete with these other games, but if a customer only has a certain amount of money to spend, they may, not buy the next version of Call of Duty or something like that and buy a lot of smaller games, as opposed to just going for one big game that they'll get bored of in a month or two. Now, I think that the developers and publishers that are going to last more next generation are going to be the ones that adapt and start making new innovative games. Like, for example, Ubisoft, how they've been trying to make, although they are still making Assassin's Creed games every year, which, I don't know, it's starting to get a little bit boring for me personally, even though I did like the original Assassin's Creed games. I'll probably still pick up Assassin's Creed 4, but it's just they're trying something new with Watch Dogs, so I'm really liking that they're trying something completely different. I mean, if you look at Activision and EA, they don't seem to be throwing that card in there every now and then and try like a whole brand new idea, so it'll be interesting to see how EA and Activision and all these other companies go next generation if they're not going with new innovative ideas. Now, I'm not saying that for a game to be really good it needs to be completely new and nothing can be the same and sequels are terrible. I do enjoy sequels. I'm just saying it's getting to the point where these games are having way too many sequels, and then once they're finished the whole storyline, they go back and tell a prequel, like Gears of War, for example. So I would really like to see something new from Epic, some new kind of shooter or something completely different that I've never seen from Epic. I mean, they are making Fortnite, so that'll be interesting to see, but I'd just like them to try, maybe not go with all the sequels next generation. It'd be nice to see if there was a lot of one-off games, so something that introduces you to the story, tells it in one game, and it ends there, so you don't really need to have a whole series of sequels of games just to keep cashing in on one good idea. And I mean, you can even see this kind of stuff with LucasArts being closed by Disney. They basically said they didn't want any of the risk. They wanted to just turn into licensing and have other people make the games so that they don't have to spend their own money on this, and it can just be something that someone else has to do. So it's kind of sad in that sense, because I was looking forward to some of the games that LucasArts was making, and I felt that they were trying some new ideas with Star Wars 1313, and hopefully what they were making was Battlefront 3 with some leaked footage of that. But it just sucks that game developers like that get closed, and yet there's other companies still pumping out of the same game, which probably wouldn't have been as good as Star Wars 1313 or unique or different. So I think in the near future we're going to see a lot more indie games coming out, to the point that there won't really be as much big games left, and it'll just be a lot of indie games, which most people may say that they kind of like the graphics and the storyline in these full-on games, but it's just getting to the point that if they're not going to innovate, they're probably going to get kicked out. So I would probably like to see what it would look like if we just have a bunch of indie games coming out, as opposed to one or two indie games here or there, and then just have a massive game every month or every couple of weeks or something like that. So it'd be interesting to see in the next couple of years whether some of these big companies declare bankruptcy or run out of ideas, or they do try some new things, or whether they'll just disappear and we'll see some new indie games coming up. Anyway, guys, this brings me to the end of my commentary. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, and if you've got any comments about indie games or anything like that, put it down below, and if you want to join the Gamerhood, just subscribe. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.